Anyway, go in, like, get my endoscopy, like, try to get an appointment as fast as I can because, you know, I'm in pain, I'm vomiting, like, I need help, okay? She comes, stands right next to me and holds my hand and says, "This is gonna be great." YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be about my laparoscopy gallbladder removal surgery. Yes, so I'm gonna get right to it. This video is gonna be in 3 parts, and I have like tons of notes because I don't want to like leave out stuff, but 3 parts of this video, and I'm gonna have them time-stamped down below so you can just click on whatever part you're most interested on, so I'm not wasting anybody's time because this is probably going to be a long video and I want to all include it in one video. So anyway, 3 parts, and the first part is basically going to be a timeline about kind of when I started having symptoms that later, you know, involved a gallbladder surgery, and kind of where I am now. I had my surgery back in February and it's June, so I kind of can tell you about, you know, the things. So yes, so we have the timeline of that. So it literally spans many months. We have the actual surgery. So this is like prep at home the day before, prep at, you know, the hospital, after surgery at the hospital, and a little bit about my recovery at home, not getting into like crazy detail basically until I was like physically recovered from the surgery basically. But yes, and then the last one is just going to be like, I literally just wrote down like 5 tips that I would give to anybody who's getting their gallbladder removed or maybe had just had surgery and you're watching this video. So just 5 tips that like really helped me get through the surgery. And then yes, so I will begin now. Here's the beginning of the timeline. We're going to start in October of 2019. I was beginning to feel the symptoms of this whole thing going on. I began to be kind of more fatigued than normal. So you're just like tired at really random times of day. I was just tired. I was exhausted all the time. And I believe, yeah, also in October was when the nausea started. So I was just kind of like nauseous here and there, you know, nothing like crazy, right? But that's when that started being in effect. And it was, you know, November where it started like affecting work life, you know, even more than like other medical stuff I have been going through. So really started affecting that. Obviously, you know, work life was, you know, affected prior to that, but, you know, all sorts of medical stuff going on in my life. Anyway, after October, my symptoms of fatigue and nausea just started getting worse. It was, yeah, by December, they were so bad that I finally, you know, started getting some lab work done that I hadn't had done in a long time. This was around December when this had progressed even more. Some of the first tests I got were, you know, kind of the main thing, and I should have been getting these tests done before, and we kind of have an idea of what we think was what was causing these issues, but we noticed my liver tests were very abnormal. The biggest things that were abnormal were the ALT and the AST. So those were really high on my liver test, and we knew definitely was not normal, but we didn't know, you know, what it was. But we thought it was because of a certain medication that I was on that I stopped taking around September, and the doctor who gave me that medication was not monitoring my blood levels properly. So we have no idea when these bad liver tests really started. And yeah, so we were just kind of like, okay, we don't know, but whatever. So moving on, end of December was so bad. Kind of mid-December, end December, that's when it started getting seriously super, super bad with the fatigue. But the biggest thing was the nausea, okay? So I'm talking so nauseous that, I mean, at first started, I was like, okay, like, you know, I'll eat my meal like any time of day. And it wasn't too long after I ate that I would throw up the entire thing. Like, just the entire thing. Like, the food hadn't even been, like, properly digested in your stomach yet. So that was annoying. And then it became to a time where I would throw up water, okay? I don't know what's going on with my hair right. I would throw up water, like a teaspoon of water. I would take it and then I would just throw it up. With that came the fact that if I was taking my medicine, I was a lot on medicines that were in pill form, and no matter what size of pill, I would take the pill. Usually, sometimes I couldn't even get it down, but I would take the pill, you know. If I did get it down, it would just come right back up. Full size, too. Like, like I said, this pill had not even been digested yet. Like, it didn't, like, it was worthless. So it came to a point where I would, like, just choke down these pills that I was taking, and it became more of a hassle than it was before, and I stopped taking all my pills. So I was on no medications except my Entyvio IV infusion for my ulcerative colitis. I mean, because that's an IV infusion. Easy. Like, I don't have to take it myself. I go in every 8 weeks to get it done. So that was all I was on. So my colitis was still, you know, fine, under control. But it was this nausea and just extreme fatigue and all of that stuff. And, you know, mid-December, I had kind of like a pneumonia type thing, and it was really bad. And where I was working at the time, like, everyone was getting sick. So I don't think it was, you know, the whole pandemic thing, but it was kind of around the time and I had some of the symptoms. So who knows? We'll see. But anyway, I definitely kind of just went through all that, and my liver tests were still really bad. The nausea was really bad. The fatigue was really bad. I was starting at that point to have like stomach problems, and the diarrhea kicked in and all of that stuff, which, you know, I'm used to just like dealing with that from my ulcerative colitis, but my colitis has been in control. So it was very, you know, confusing to me that this shouldn't be my colitis. Like, that's in control. My antibody levels for my Entyvio infusion are good. Like, I'm not building antibodies to the medicine, so I should be fine, right? But I wasn't. So come January, I was off most of my meds, and I will get more into detail about that in another video about like what it's like to go off. Oh, I'm going out of focus. Okay, I will go into detail about what it's like to go off some of the medications I was on, but that's like a whole nother ordeal. But I was off my medications except for my Entyvio infusion, which messed me up pretty good. And yeah, so in January, a lot of things happen. So first things first, I mean, obviously being off all my meds, I also started getting a pain on my right side. So this is not like, you know, monthly cramps. This is like, you know, like kind of like a little bit under the rib cage on my right side. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Let's like look what that is, you know. Like, oh, gallbladder. You know, I started talking to people who, you know, had their gallbladder out and had similar symptoms to me, like right before they had it out. And they're thinking, oh, like you could have like gallstones, you could have all this stuff. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So, like, this is the funny part. Well, it's actually not that funny. It's kind of sad. I was the one who told my doctor, do you think it could be my gallbladder? Because we were kind of interested in the liver at this point. What's wrong with the liver? Could it be causing this? And we decided to do some tests like involving gallbladder too later on, which was a great idea actually. Like, I wish the doctors had, you know, said that could be a thing, but that's fine. I mean, it's fine. I was off my meds, had that pain, the nausea was still really bad. So among my many kind of ER and hospital visits, they gave me Phenergan, which is an anti-nausea medication. They gave me a pill form, and I was in the ER, and they gave it to me because I was so nauseous. They gave me like one pill, and then they came in to discharge me before, like, right after I'd taken it, before, like, I knew if it was working, because I still felt like the same I felt when I left. And they gave me a prescription for like 7 pills of Phenergan, and so like sent me on my merry way. And long story short, I never got that prescription even like filled again by my primary doctor because it didn't work. I would vomit up those pills. I mean, I think I would only take one, and I think you take it every like, I don't know how long I was told to take it, you know, but I would take the pill and then like I would still throw up like later on, and I would throw up the full pill, like it'd still be there, you know. I'm just like, okay, well that's not working very well. So later on I was struggling to get a ultrasound of my liver because that is what they wanted me to do, is get an ultrasound of my liver. It was taking so long to do it at my, you know, actual doctor, kind of like medical foundation that I'm a part of. I'm kidding these, I'm sorry. It took me so long to do that, I just went to the ER so that they could do it there. So while I was at the ER, they did that, and they found out that my liver was enlarged, or I guess like inflamed, enlarged, I don't know, and I had non-alcoholic fatty liver, not like not like really bad, but they found that. So I was like, okay, interesting. Then they gave me a shot of Phenergan on my arm, which I swear that was the most painful shot I've ever had in my life. And I'm sorry if like you're about to like have to get that done, but like it was terrible. I had a ring on my finger, it was on my middle finger, and I had to have it drilled off once. And while they were drilling it off, it was burning the skin underneath my, like the ring on my finger, and I have a nice scar on it, which has gotten better because I've been treating it with stuff. But it hurt more than that. And let me tell you, my arm was sore for 2-3 months. Like it finally just got better. Anyway, so I got that, and then finally the only thing that worked for the nausea, you know, enough to make me not vomit, was the Phenergan suppositories. And those things are great, but they're not great if you are also having diarrhea, because like, yeah, if you can't get it in through your mouth, you gotta get it in through your butt. And if both, you know, if things are coming out on both ends at like, you know, crazy speeds, then, you know, you got a problem. You got a problem. So anyway, so that, I mean, on the days that it worked, then it was great. And anyway, so moving on, like I have so much to get through, and it's probably been so long, and I've just been talking about this stuff, but I'll probably edit it out. All right, so I was on the Phenergan and all that stuff. Yeah, so that was January. I was still kind of like figuring stuff out. It was either the end of January or like the very, 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 very beginning of February that I saw a surgeon to see about getting my gallbladder removed. And keep in mind, we didn't know for sure if I had gallstones, if my gallbladder was inflamed. We didn't know. We just knew that I had all the symptoms. I did not have jaundice though. Not like my skin or my eyes or anything. I did not have jaundice, but we did know that I had pain exactly where the gallbladder is, and like you kind of feel it in your back shoulder blade too, and that was also a symptom or whatever. So I had the symptoms of gallbladder needing to be like removed, or gallstones, stuff like that, but no one had ever really tested to see if like I had gallstones or anything wrong with my gallbladder. They were kind of just focused on my liver. Anyway, begged my doctor to see a surgeon, had the appointment with the surgeon, and I was kind of just like, can you just take it out? Like, I don't even care. Like, I don't need this organ in my body. I'm fine. Long story short, she says, like, if you really want it, I can do it. But she decided, my surgeon, that I should get an endoscopy to check for like a stomach ulcer or something, which I have not looked up on like if they have the same symptoms as what I was having. So I was like, whatever, I'll do it. I'll do the endoscopy. It's fine. Like, you put me out, it's cool. So they also decided to do an MRCP. And an MRCP is like an MRI, but like internally. So they could see if I had like gallstones or any, you know, stones in my ducts, I think that they could tell you by that. They're supposed to be able to like remove some gallstones by doing that, but you know, they didn't do that. So anyway, go in, like, get my endoscopy, like, try to get an appointment as fast as I can because, you know, I'm in pain, I'm vomiting, like, I need help, okay? So this is in the beginning of February. Get my endoscopy, get my MRCP. I wake up, doctor comes in and says, okay, well, you have no stomach ulcer, awesome, and you have a few gallstones. Keep in the word few when I talk to you later about things, but he said I had a few. I came to my, you know, surgeon, and I talked to her. I just flicked my pen across the room. Oh, luckily I have a second one. So I talked to my doctor, my surgeon, and I said, hey, can you please just take this thing out? And she's like, well, you know, there's no guarantee it's gonna help, you know, no guarantee at all. Like, you still might have some of these symptoms beyond, like, getting it out, but we could do it, you know? And so I was like, yeah, just please do it. So I know I was in good hands, you know, she's a great doctor, surgeon. So anyway, February 10th, I was scheduled for gallbladder surgery, and I got lucky because that scheduling nurse person who scheduled it and found a spot for me, I said, you give me any hospital in the area, like literally just like as soon as possible, where like the surgeon can do it. So they scheduled me for February 10th. So I will go in kind of more of an in-depth of the actual surgery experience in the second, you know, section of this video. But basically I did have my surgery on February 10th, and I will tell you, pain after surgery was, you know, a few days after, once kind of like the air that they pump inside you is like gone and like you're kind of getting back to like normal life. I only had pain like, you know, where they did the cuts, you know? So my pain on my right side that I was having, which is where the gallbladder is located, was gone. Completely gone. So I was like, okay, well, at least that's like one thing, you know, I can like, you know, move around again more, I guess, whatever. You know, I was on pain meds for like 3 days, and then after that I was like, fine, I don't need anything. I can take pain, you know, pretty well. So 3 days of pain meds was more than enough, and yeah, so I was fine after that. Pain-wise, you know, after 5 days of the surgery, you know, the diarrhea started that has like bile in it because you have no gallbladder to like filter out the bile, so it's just, you know, it's there. So that's a whole nother thing, and like bile and like your throat, it's pretty terrible. Other than that, you know, not being very hungry after surgery, kind of ate very like starchy, you know, non-acidic fruits, vegetables, all that stuff. So it did definitely, you know, help me from not eating, you know, very bad things for you. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. Going down to March. So that's kind of giving me a month to like recoup from surgery. Back to March, I saw my gastroenterologist, and I think within that time I had like my after surgery doctor's office visit with my surgeon, and she said like everything was healing fine. Anyway, March, I was still dealing with this like bile burning diarrhea multiple times a day, you know, 9-10 times a day, and this was not like, had nothing to do with my colitis, and it was almost, you know, worse in a certain sense. Like, they're both terrible things to have. But anyway, so my gastroenterologist started me on cholestyramine. Cholestyramine, if you don't know what that is, it's actually for people with like high cholesterol. It just kind of like binds up all the things, and I don't know. I don't really know. I can look more into it if you're interested about it. But it literally was a miracle. I took it, you mix it like in water. Next day, I had like no bile, like normal poo. It was awesome, and it's awesome. So, and I noticed like one day without taking that, 9-10 times a day in the bathroom. Not fun. But taking it, I'm like a normal, healthy person. Anyway, so I did that. I still had the nausea, but I wasn't vomiting, you know, very much at all. And also, like, if you're wondering, like, I was never forcing myself to throw up. I would literally sit there and just do my best not to, because I hate throwing up, and it was just like, it was always just like non-preventable. And keep in mind, I didn't feel better after I threw up either. Like, I was still just, you know, miserable. Anyway, so I am on half battery on my camera because I didn't charge it after my last video. Terrible. Anyway, so it's still nausea, who knows? But I was definitely not as hungry as I normally would be. And sometimes it wasn't even just because of nausea, I just genuinely wasn't. But I was more hungry for healthy things, you know, instead of fast food, which was a good thing. So anyway, fast forward to May, which was last month, instead of taking the cholestyramine, I started the cholesterol pills. And the cholesterol pills are basically the same thing, just in pill form, which was great because it's easier to remember and less work to like make it and like, you know, all that stuff. So started that, did the same thing for me. So definitely, like, if you don't like if you don't like the powder, you can try the pills. They do the same thing. And yes, end of May, my nausea was fixed. Like, I'm not nauseous anymore that much. I definitely am still not like as hungry as before, but my appetite has slowly come back, which is good. And, you know, even if I wasn't hungry, I would still try to make smoothies. And I did a video a long time ago about like my skincare routine, and I was talking about the company called Arbonne. And I'm not like, you know, associated with the company. Like, I'm not like employed by them or whatever. But I do have a friend who sells Arbonne, and I was using their shakes, like their protein shakes, you know, it's good for me, I used it because if I wasn't hungry, I would just make one of those with like some fresh fruit and then put the powder in, and they were really good, I still drink them. But yeah, so I can do a video on like what I eat when I couldn't eat really, and I still like needed nutrients and stuff, but that's a really good option if, you know, you can't eat, but you can drink a smoothie. It's not really food, so it's like a different kind of mindset. Anyway, so we're gonna go to June, and today is June 16th. You know, we're in the middle of June right now, and I would say, you know, I'm fully healed from surgery. I mean, I would say, you know, I was fully healed. I was fully healed. But once the nausea was gone, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's great. You know, I don't have the nausea anymore. I'm not as fatigued. So I was kind of wondering, like when will, like, the symptoms I had, you know, go away? Like, and now I would say June is when like the symptoms I had from my gallbladder being in are gone, and, you know, surgery symptoms are gone too. Scars are healing really well, and, you know, not as noticeable. So like everything's good, you know. So, you know, I'm starting to eat better, like I said. So yeah, so I'm healed from surgery. I have some other issues going on that are undiagnosed, that are really, really terrible and annoying, but I will talk about that later once I know more, like, information, can make like more of a cohesive video about it for you. But anyway, so that's like its own thing. And just kind of like an update on that, my liver tests alone are getting better. They're still high and abnormal, but they're getting better, and I think it's just a matter of, you know, not being on the medicines I was on. And even the medicines I was on back, like, you know, before I stopped taking all of them in January, I'm not back on any of the same ones. And I don't actually, like, I realized I don't even need medication for some of the stuff I was on, and like, that's awesome just to be able to take less medication for like those things. But I'm on a bunch of other stuff now, but that's something that I will talk about soon. So okay, and then yeah, so that's pretty much like my timeline of like when I started having symptoms of surgery, getting surgery, and where I am today, mid-June 2020. So that's kind of that whole thing. It's been quite the long journey. And if you're wondering, I did have, I think I said this like in the beginning, it was a laparoscopy surgery. So instead of a big cut, they did like, it was 4 incisions, and yeah, my surgeon did a beautiful job on her, you know, cutting and sewing skills. So that's good. And yeah, so I had that done. It was not an emergency surgery. It was totally planned. But once I did get it removed, they found out, you know, they have the big words, that I'll include, you know, maybe here if I feel like editing this, like that. But they did find gallstones. And keep in mind, when I had my, was it like my endoscopy and MRCP, I had them at the same time, and the doctor, who was not one of my, like a normal doctor I see, it was just someone who's like available, and he said I had a few gallstones. Well, I had over 30 gallstones, all varying in sizes, and I also had an inflamed gallbladder, and my surgeon said that my bile ducts in my gallbladder were very narrow. So that could be another thing too. It could also have been a problem in the future. Yes, I had an inflamed gallbladder with 30 plus gallstones, and no one knew that until I got it taken out. So I'm really glad I did. Like, honestly, I'm really glad. Because if I didn't get it taken out, like, who knows, like, what they would think it is and try to do. But, you know, thank goodness for all the people who shared their experiences about getting it out and kind of what they went through. So, yes, I'm going to go to the next section. I hope that was cohesive enough. The next section is basically my surgery, like, prep and, like, snippet, no pun intended, of my recovery. And, okay, so 4 sections. First one is the prep the day before surgery. The day before surgery was a normal day, but I could not eat. I believe it was like after dinner, after midnight, I don't know, like eat or drink, like even water. And then I also had to do, there's this stuff called Hibiclens, and it sounds like I'm about to do like some colon cleansing or something, but no, it's like a body wash. It's like really antibacterial. It's kind of like pink colored, and I think I was allergic to it, or maybe it was just the pink color like dyeing my skin, because my skin got like red afterwards. But anyway, so I did the Hibiclens, and it's like a lot of work, okay? So if you know what that is, like, or if you had to do it before, you have to like put it on and like cleanse yourself with it for a certain amount of minutes, like in the shower, like without water, and then you wash it off, and then like it's just like this whole kind of process. And basically what it's doing is like really cleaning the area, you know, of your skin to like prevent, you know, a infection after your surgery, or you know, from it happening during, I guess. Anyway, so that was really it. I don't think I slept at all before the night before my surgery. Like, I was just like kind of nervous but excited too, like hoping that it would mean I would feel better. Anyway, so prep day at the hospital, I just remember having to get there really, really early in the morning, like like it was still dark outside. So, which meant like a great parking spot, but also meant it was really early. So when I got to the hospital, they did a couple things. First, they had me brush my teeth, okay? And not like normal teeth brushing. They had like, it was like really weird. It was like a wrapped up kind of, it wasn't even like a real toothbrush. It was kind of like spongy kind of thing. And it had this minty kind of liquid, and you brush your teeth with it. And I think it's just also like an antibacterial thing. You don't like rinse out with water. You just like brush your teeth, and like you know, spit it out and you're fine. And then they make you do like a wipe down with like these antibacterial like wipey things. So like of the area that they're gonna do surgery on, just more, you know, antibacterial kind of thing to prevent infection. And then they did some lab tests, start an IV, all that stuff you get in your gown to, you know, your hospital surgery gown, you know, hat kind of thing to get your hair out of your face. And then they did, and I believe it was literally just like iodine, and they put it like in my nose. I don't know why, but I was kind of really like freaked out because like all this stuff's happening and you're gonna put this like weird like dark red colored thing in my nose. What if it smells bad? Like what if the smell makes me vomit? It wasn't that bad, but it was just weird, okay? Like I've never had iodine or really anything like that before. Like I've never had anything, like I don't put things in my nose, okay? Anyway, so then you just wait for like a few hours, and then they wheel you to like a different waiting area, like in your bed thing, and you just wait. And yeah, you wait, and then when they're ready, they wheel you into the operating room. Like I was awake through all of this. They make you scoot like on a different bed, like literally the surgery table. They make you like scoot, and then like you get on the table, and literally there was room for my body, but not room for my arms. My arms had like a separate table. So I guess for like the anesthesiologist could do his thing, but I don't know what they're doing with my other arm. But you know, it was there. So then they're like strapping you to the table because you cannot be like moving around. You know, obviously, or you're under anesthesia. Met like the anesthesiologist, which I think I met prior to going in the room, but he was in there, and like we said hi, and then like the woman who rolled me in to the surgery room or the operating room, she introduced me to like everyone who was going to be in there, and like, you know, you say hi to them, and then, you know, they do the thing where you know, you like confirm your birth date and all that stuff, so that like it's like, you know, proving that you're really you or whatever. And then my surgeon comes in, and she was not, you know, ready for surgery yet. She was in her like a hoodie. It was so cute. She's so cute. But anyway, she comes, stands right next to me and holds my hand and says, "This is gonna be great. Like, you're gonna do great. We're gonna do this. Are you ready? We're gonna do this." Like, it's really just like, you know, I've never had, you know, I mean, granted, I've never had kind of like a surgery like, you know, like that, but like, you know, people for colonoscopies, endoscopy, like they don't do that. I mean, no offense to those doctors, but like, this was just crazy. She comes in, holds my hand, she looks into me with her beautiful blue eyes and just encourages me. And I was like, well, you know, I hope that, you know, and I don't remember exactly what I said because I was kind of just like, you know, in a moment, but I was like, you know, I hope you stitch me up real nice, like real pretty, like, you know, like make me look beautiful. And she said like, yeah, I will, you know. And she said like, you know, and she even complimented the anesthesiologist. She's like, if I was to go out, I would have him do it, you know, like he would be the one I would have. And so, you know, just a few minutes right before, and she was holding my hand as I fell asleep. And they did the surgery. It was good. All that stuff. Boom, wake up. And I wake up in so much pain. And the biggest pain I had was because they pump air into like your body, right? So that they have, you know, room to do the things and all that stuff. So they pump the air, and that was like so painful because it's like trapped inside of your body and you're like sewn up and stuff. Just a feeling like you can't even explain. So I was in a lot of pain, right? And I was kind of like in and out of like, you know, sleep-ish at that moment. And I guess I was like so much in pain I was making like a sound like of agony, like and the nurse comes over, okay, we need to be quiet now. And I'm just like, oh, like I don't even know I was making noise. It's a very like weird mental moment. So I was in a lot of pain. They wouldn't give me any more pain medication. I guess maybe it was too soon after surgery, or they just figured it was the air, and I don't know. So they wouldn't give me any more meds. It was not fun. It was not, yeah. But I was probably having not as bad of a time as the person next to me who had just had a hip replacement surgery. And yeah, I think because I overheard like some of the nurses talking like, oh yeah, they just had a hip replacement. And like, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm next to someone who just had their hip replaced. Like that's intense. Anyway, that person that had the hip surgery had to get an x-ray like right away apparently. And so I had to be moved to a different bed, and like they couldn't just wheel me away. They moved me into a different bed. So I had just like woken up and I am like in agony moving to this other bed, like literally barely able to move, like moving my shoulders to my hips and just in pain the whole time. So finally was moved to that different bed, which like they shouldn't do that. But I was moved to a different bed and then just kind of hung out a little bit there. Then finally they wheeled me over to like the area of, you know, where I would be basically end up literally putting my clothes on and like being wheeled out of the hospital, because it was not an overnight stay. It was like day of, in, out, done. They didn't want to have to deal with me any longer than they had to. So I got to the like, you know, kind of end recovery room. So in my little area, and the nurse was super awesome that I had in that room. She wanted me to eat something so that I could take more pain meds. It was like a pill pain med, really strong apparently. Who knows? I don't know. But I had to eat something. So, and I had just gotten out of gallbladder surgery, so I wasn't really sure like what I could eat. She brought me an English muffin toasted with butter and strawberry jam. And it was like hard to eat. I don't know. And they gave me some saltine crackers, which was like, okay. But I was able to eat about half of the English muffin, and then I was able to take more pain medication, which really helped, like, so that I could like get up and leave the hospital. That was good. That happened. And then I also got just some ice water and was drinking that for a while. Yeah, so I just kind of hung out. I was laying there for a little bit, and yeah, nurse was really nice. And then I was able to eventually get up, and she kind of helped me get up and like showed me like where my scars are. Obviously they were bandaged up, but she was just showing me like where they were, so I would know to be like careful of that area, and giving me like discharge instructions, like don't shower for I think it's 24 hours, and you know, basic stuff like that. And you know, obviously like don't take a bath. If you take a bath, I mean definitely like don't swim or like go in a hot tub for a while, but if you take like a bath or go in a hot tub, your stitches can open up, and that's a problem, obviously, duh. So it's obviously a problem. So I didn't do that. And obviously swimming, you can get like bacteria in there. But anyway, so yeah, so just like basic stuff like that. And I somehow made it into a wheelchair and got wheeled out of the hospital and picked up and taken home. So that was, you know, the whole experience at the hospital. I think it went really smooth, besides like the pain and having to switch beds right after surgery. So recovery at home was fine. I was on pain meds pretty consistently for 3 days, and then I didn't need them anymore. I kind of just like, by like day 4, I just forgot to take it when I woke up, and then I was like, oh, like I'm fine. So I just stopped taking them completely, and you know, I can handle pain, so that's fine. So I took that, yeah, I took that completely. I was off pain meds completely, and the only pain I had was the pain from the stitches, like the injection sites. I'm thinking of like some of the meds I was on back, like really bad ulcerative colitis days. No, so it was where the cuts were for the surgery and where the stitches were. That was really the pain. I did not have any core strength because that was, yeah. So I couldn't really get up easily on my own, but I had to have someone help me get up. And you kind of like figure out different ways to get up and to move around and do what you need to do. After 5 days, that's when I started having the diarrhea that had the bile in it. And as I mentioned before, I started taking clostridium, and now I take cholesterol, and that basically gets rid of it completely and makes you have literally like normal time in the bathroom, normal experience, just like a total 100% healthy person would. And like I said, the pain on my right side that I was having was gone, where the gallbladder was located. So clearly, you know, that was that. The first week I ate pretty small meals. I wasn't that hungry, but I stuck with like bread and, you know, fruit that wasn't acidic, some like vegetables that weren't acidic and stuff like that. Pretty like basic diet. But pretty soon after, I was able to introduce more and more foods into my system. I can do a video later if you want about, you know, food that I ate and that kind of thing. But I didn't really notice like a lesser tolerance to anything, like even before I started taking the clostridium about a month later. So, you know, it was just kind of, you know, you learn of that kind of thing. You know, because bile in your body is not fun at any location. My battery's gonna die, so we're gonna quickly do this next part. First thing is tips about gallbladder, like removal surgery, and here we go. And this is kind of recovery tips, so it kind of goes into what I last said. So tip number 1, if you need to laugh, if you're around funny people who are trying to cheer you up, hold a pillow on your stomach as hard as you can while you laugh. It'll make it less painful. Number 2, a heating pad for the pain and the itching, because if your scars are healing correctly, they're probably going to itch a whole lot. So you don't want to itch them. Obviously, that's bad. You can do a little like pat on the scar area, but the heating pad really helped with the itching. You could put ice on it too if you want. That's also another option. I guess it really depends on like what, if you're triggered by a certain temperature for like the itching, but for me that helped. Number 3, go to your drugstore or get whatever. You can get a waist cincher, and I think that's what they're called, but yeah, it's not, you know, to like make you look skinny. It's literally just like a Velcro thing you put around your waist, and it is good. It is a good idea, and it will help you to be able to like kind of walk around and not feel like your like insides are coming out, which is kind of, it's weird, but if you have the surgery, you know what I'm talking about. You know, I mean, it helps at night too if you want to sleep on your side, but definitely like a pillow if you're sleeping on your side is helpful too, just to hold on to the area, or if you have a dog that's gonna jump on you in the morning, it happens, and the pillow really does help. Number 4, after your surgery, you have some doctor's appointments, I'm sure. If you're having that bile kind of diarrhea or the bile kind of buildup, ask about clostridium or cholesterol. Your doctor might have a preference. It's worth trying both if you want. And then number 5 is to sleep on a low bed, because you will not have core strength. And I was not able to sit up in order to get up to like go to the bathroom in the middle of the night or stuff like that. So if you have a low bed, you can kind of nudge your way onto the floor, and then it helps. You know, to have a plan on like, if you gotta go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, how are you gonna get up if you can't get up? Like, you need to be able to get up. So that's kind of like, you know, the big thing. People always ask, like, how long do I need to take off of work? I would say 3 to 5 days. I was not working at the time. I had to quit my job in January because I was so sick, and I can make another video about that. But, you know, it's kind of a matter when the job doesn't see what's going on, and they don't count it as real. So, you know, when you have these issues that literally prevent you from, you know, daily activity, like, it was so bad, like the nausea and the fatigue and all that stuff, it was literally, you know, so bad. So, you know, obviously when you're working for a company who doesn't recognize, you know, invisible illness and that kind of thing, you have to, you know, send in your resignation letter, which sucks, but, you know, it happens. So I can do another video about, like, my experience of that and kind of, you know, what it's like to try to work and also have something going on that's invisible that, you know, maybe your workplace doesn't take seriously. I could go on about that, but, you know, disability discrimination is real, and I've seen it. Okay, so that was, I don't know, hopefully that was helpful. It was kind of like a lot of stuff, but that was basically kind of my story about getting my gallbladder out, how, you know, it's kind of on a whim, but I'm glad I did, because I'd still be dealing with all that stuff today, maybe. I don't know, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, other people telling me about, you know, hey, have you got your gallbladder checked, like, da, 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 then I would still be in pain, and who knows what could happen. Anyway, so if you have questions about something maybe I didn't, like, address in the video, you can leave them down below. If there's enough, I can make a Q&A, like, video, but other than that, like, I'll just answer comments as I need to. If it's a repeat question, I just won't answer, and if I'm feeling, like, really nice, I'll just, like, write down the person who asked the question so that person can go read the answer that I already wrote, or copy and paste, I don't know, whatever, we'll see. But, you know, make sure you just, like, read if there's questions other people asked. But I could do a Q&A video, but just anyway, feel free to leave, like, your questions in the comments. I'll answer, like, what I can. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. New videos coming up soon on this channel. Definitely also let me know if you have requests for other videos as well, regarding ulcerative colitis, gallbladder, or, you know, anything like that. But definitely make sure to check out my Instagram where you can message me and see when videos are going up and stuff like that. It's the username is Emily Ellen Co. And then, yeah. And if you are interested in checking out my shop where I make jewelry like this, it is emilyellen.co, not .com, .co. So that's pretty much it. Be safe and take care. And I will see you in the next video. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me. You'll see me in the next video. Bye.